Welcome to the Salt Circle Podcast. My name is Hank. With me, as always, is Ben.
Hey, I had a lot of curry before starting this. I forgot about the podcast, and Hank messages me, and he's like, "Podcast," and some people would put down the spicy curry, and maybe have like a crab rangoon or something, you know, something to not like lower the effect on their mouth hole. My decision was to shovel as much of it in my mouth as I could, and now I'm here.
Welcome to here.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
So, this is the start of Old Movie Month? Not sure we're gonna get all these episodes recorded in time. Whatever. The old movie project.
Yeah.
We're watching old shit. And
'Cause
when
I
I say
haven't
old
seen-
shit, I don't mean like the 80s or the 90s.
Yeah.
I mean old shit.
And I have seen none of it at all, even a little. I actually, yeah. So we'll start. You know, we're doing our first four, our Humphrey Bogart films.
Yes.
Based on the fact that we had Kurosawa films and Hitchcock films, I thought Humphrey Bogart was the director. He is not.
Nope.
I like
He's
the
the
name
star.
was vaguely familiar, but then yeah.
Uh-huh.
So what I'm honestly blanking on the titles we had. We had Casablanca. We had that's the only
Maltese
one.
Falcon,
Right.
Casablanca, To Have and Have Not, The Big Sleep. Which are sort of his
Yeah.
first
Yeah.
four big ones, I think.
Okay. I know what each one was. I just,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. This is also actually like along with having not seen like any of these, I haven't really seen a true like noir film. So this was obviously the genre isn't exactly something wild and unfamiliar, but it was just cool to see a style of story that I wasn't super familiar with. For some of them, anyway.
Yeah, because they're not all like that, but
Yeah.
Big Sleep in particular is like
Oh,
pretty.
yeah, I got thoughts.
Okay, well, let's start with his first sort of
Yeah.
breakout movie. Technically he starred in this movie High Sierra before this, and I found out that like the advertising for the Maltese Falcon was all about the star of the High Sierra, but High Sierra kind of sucks and isn't super well remembered. Maltese Falcon is like his first starring role that's really remembered. He played villains in other movies and other minor roles for a long time.
Okay.
Like he was pretty late in his career that he became like a huge star.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. But yeah, Maltese Falcon is kind of like the quintessential straightforward detective story.
Mm-hmm.
It has
was-
a lot of the tropes of the
Yeah.
genre, except they're not tropes yet, kind of, at least in movies.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. I have questions about that when we get to Casablanca. It was fine. Like, I think I think it's honestly more than anything, it's just sort of a bit like I don't find this genre like super invigorating. It's fine. Um, I think between the two styles of films of this we watched, I think I liked The Big Sleep more, but maybe for wrong reasons. Um, this just kind of
I
was
yeah,
there.
I think the Big Sleep is generally more entertaining.
Yes.
The list does have Peter Lorre, so that's a plus to me.
Which one's he?
Um, the one who's also in Casablanca.
Oh, he
Or
has like
one of the ones who's also with the big eyes.
does he have the voice?
Yes, he's the voice.
Okay.
That's Peter
Yeah.
Lorre.
Yeah, that's the Is he like
You stupid idiot. Yeah,
he
the one
like
who's
that?
Ren.
Is there like I should have looked this up cuz like his voice is super familiar.
Yeah, Peter Lorre, very famous, long career.
I wonder if I just knew like if it was just lines from stuff that I had heard or something or like quips or something or if he was did he like
I mean, you've also probably heard lots of imitations of his voice
you know
in
what
cartoons and
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, because it's definitely like I don't know what cartoon, but it's certainly a cartoon that I'm thinking of. It's like it's on the tip of my brain. Oh, that's gonna bug me. Maybe by the end of the episode, I'll figure it out. I want to say like offhand, like Sonic the Hedgehog, maybe.
Oh, weird.
Ooh, this is a bad one. I'm tempted to just shut the whole thing down and we'll regroup when I can figure it out. Son of a bitch. But yeah, no, he was good. He has like, I wish he was on screen more.
That's fair. Honestly, like for me, the Maltese Falcon is good, but the thing that makes the movie to me is at the end when Bogart's like gives his speech to the woman's like, "Yep, well you're going to jail."
Yeah,
He's like, well, you still feel that way about me when you're out of prison." Maybe we'll
yeah,
that like speech, the way that it handles that of him actually not letting her get away with it is what makes this whole movie for me, honestly.
yeah, yeah.
And
It's
then like City Green Street's also pretty entertaining. It's the fat man.
oh yeah.
Gutman.
It felt good to get back to that like original Godzilla runtime. It's feeling pretty nice. Like an hour and a half right on the dot. Not like related to anything, but you know.
Yeah, this was the only one of these movies that was that short.
Yeah.
So.
And that's like a thing when I saw it, I was wondering if that would be a bit of a trend. Just because, like, oh, were old movies like shorter? Or I actually don't know. I guess is it like has anything changed in that regard? I could see it going either way, honestly. Like with old films being short or like, oh, here's a 3 or 4 hour film that's unnecessary, but we don't know what we're doing yet.
I mean, I feel like well, it's kind of the same where like bigger movies would be longer.
Okay.
Like length is like
Like if the
you're
movie is
more
worth
confident in your movie, or
it.
you're
Yeah.
like, so like movies that it's like comparing movies. Like thing is these days it's like there are big movies and then there are movies that just get like released to Netflix or whatever. It's like
Okay.
So you don't have
That makes sense.
necessarily as many as like smaller budget, like less ambitious movies in that way.
Yeah.
Movies today are all long because it's like trying to give you bang for your buck because movies are so expensive to go to. If they're trying to get you to go to a theater a lot of the time.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, one of the striking things watching the Maltese Falcon today is that like it has all of, like just the classic detective moments in it.
Yes.
But it's all played straight, which just never happens anymore. You're never allowed you just can't do this stuff anymore without like having a wink or a not like a some like way to undercut it or something.
Yeah.
Like this is it kind of like this has been done well too many times for to do it straight anymore. There's always some like
no, that checks
weird,
out.
some undercutting of it.
Like if I saw, I don't know, like 80% of this shit in a film today, I would. I feel like I would expect, even if they. Yeah, I just like it wouldn't be. Even if there's not like anything outright, I would expect even just like the tone of delivery to be like ridiculous, I guess, in some form.
Which is not to say that like there's nothing ridiculous in this movie. Like Sydney Greenstreet is pretty 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 good, but yeah, it's as plotting and as like stuff goes, it's pretty straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
It's playing it straight.
Yeah, and it's like it's good. I certainly don't think it's definitely not a bad film, and I don't know. I think there's enough not nostalgia, but like that it feels like an importance factor, you know? Like I know there's a lot like for Ocarina of Time or something, or the original Legend of Zelda, there's like people with the nostalgia, but then there's the large chunk of people who are like, but it was the first, or it's so important, it was this, it changed the like, yeah, okay. And I like this for that. Like it's cool looking at the. Is it like how early in the game was this for the genre? Was this like at the forefront, or is this like a really good example of something that had been trucking along for a little bit?
I'm not 100%. I know the novel's like from 10 years earlier. The novel's from like the 30s. But
yeah, and we had word
as far as movies go, this is pretty.
It's close enough to like
pretty early.
call it a forefather. Yeah. That makes sense.
Apparently, it's cited as the first major film noir.
Okay, cool.
So it is pretty.
I did notice.
I guess.
Were all of four of these films based on books? I know two of them were. I guess I forget if Casablanca's not. That one's no. Yeah, right. That one's like a play, isn't it? Or did the play come after?
The play might have come. It was based on an unproduced stage play.
Great.
Called Everybody Comes to Rick's.
Right. Not quite.
No, Casablanca is really just a movie.
Yeah. Okay. And I mean that's kind of what I thought.
And yeah. And the To Have and Have Not is only in heavy quotes based on a book, but we'll talk about that.
Yeah. I think I remember seeing something about that.
we'll have to. I've read that book, so we'll have to talk about that a little.
Ooh.
But yeah, it's the Maltese Falcon. It's the classic search for a MacGuffin,
Yeah.
and the thing about it is that like the big sleep ends up being way more kind of influential about how film noir actually will go in terms of like shit being weird.
Yeah.
This is a pretty straightforward just detective story where everything kind of gets revealed by the end. He figures everything out.
Yeah.
But I also this like starts and this just like establishes Humphrey Bogart as a star and like the way he'll be a star for most of the rest of his career.
Mm-hmm.
And like just him is like the coolest guy in movies.
Yeah. Which like I even just seeing this film, I get it.
Yeah.
Dude was good. Dude's he's good.
He's like
he's that like quintessential look.
Yeah. And he is like his way he acts with his hands is always so good, and they were like definitely look like a working class hands.
Mm-hmm.
They're like you can tell he's lived a life.
Yeah. What like so what age did he get like big acting? Or I guess like what a better question is, was he like a lifetime actor or did he get into the game at all later on?
No, he had been in a lot of movies.
Okay, so it was I forgot if you had said that so it's not like it's like Leslie Nielsen was like that. Right? He like cuz wasn't he like a stage actor and he just got into film acting like super late in his life?
Yeah, and he wasn't a comedic actor at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Falcon was good.
Yeah, I think he was like 42.
Okay.
Or something when they made the Maltese Falcon.
Yeah, that's pretty late.
He was born in 1899.
That's wild. It's like for like 1941, it's not thinking about that date, it doesn't feel super long ago, but then when it's like, yeah, this guy was born prior to 1900, it feels kind of long ago.
Yeah, man.
God damn.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
What did you like? Just as even a more general question, what did you think about like the way dialogue was delivered in these movies, like the fast talking compared to like more modern movies?
I enjoyed it. I will say, this is I mean it's a good segue in a sense. Like Casablanca was great.
Yeah.
Like I'd heard of it 1,000 times. I didn't quite picture it on a boat, but there was certainly a lot of wrong things that I assumed. Yeah. Well, we can get to that, but I really liked it and everything about it, including the dialogue and how it's delivered. Even in all of these films like that translated.
Yeah.
I guess I'm trying to imagine like if a film came out today and it had that same shtick. I don't know. I don't know if it would work as well unless you're like intentionally doing other things to kind of fit the theme. I don't know if you could just lift that style of delivery and put it in a modern film. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because it's like not really how people talk in modern movies, but I think it ages really well. Like, just because it's fat, like it's what makes old movies, I think, really good is these fast dialogue ones. Other than like the black and white stuff looks pretty good. Whereas they're like early. They're like color movies in the 70s that look like garbage.
Yeah.
'Cause the studios don't know what they're doing. Whereas which was like a time where like the studio movies were bad and the more independent stuff is the stuff everyone remembers.
Okay.
But this is the time when the studio stuff was the both the stuff everybody liked and a lot of the stuff that would get critical acclaim, like Casablanca won an Oscar.
Mm-hmm.
Ed was super popular.
Yeah, which makes sense.
It's great.
I fucking get the hype.
Yeah. Yeah, let's just talk about Casablanca, because Casablanca is
Hell
fucking
yeah.
good.
So what I thought Casablanca was, and I believe this, it has to stem from, I don't know what film again. I think it was an animated film of some sort, but I think it was something where like there's this big ominous castle, like sort of Dracula type stuff, and it was like a pun sort of thing where the castle was like, "Welcome to Casablanca," or something like that. And I don't know, that just like fucking stuck with me. So I thought we were dealing with more of like a Nosferatu sort of thing, where it's like a dude who lives at a castle. And it's like,
okay.
I didn't necessarily know if it was creepy or not, but like, you know, Othello didn't take place on a boat.
It's true.
This film,
Fun
like,
fact.
we get like 20 seconds in, I'm like, yeah, I was misinformed. Somewhere along the way, it was incorrect, but that's fine. I wasn't really looking forward to 40s hermit vampire anyway, so it's kind of a nice surprise. This was much better than than my version.
Yeah, man. This movie is very good. Also, propaganda
Yeah,
to get the U.S. to go into World War II and fight the Nazis.
great.
But, that holds up pretty well, too. Turns out.
So as far as like, I guess trend setting or whatever, I think it. Am I correct in saying that like "Play It Again, Sam" comes from this? Like,
Yes.
directly.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yes.
The only other one that I can remember like super clearly, there might be others. The like "Here's Looking at You, Kid." Is that also like directly from this?
Yep.
Do you know? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. It's just weird. Like it's fucking come down into so many different things.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, no, Casablanca is pretty influential in many ways. God, this movie just has so many good characters too.
Yes.
Like, fucking Captain Renault. I'm shocked to find gambling going on.
Yeah.
You're winning, sir. Oh,
It's
thank
so
you.
good. It's so good. Like it feels like a modern film, basically. Like, and that's kind of the thing that surprised me is, I don't know, I fucking thought they're all gonna be like slow and boring.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure there are, for the 4 that we've watched, there are probably like thousands that are actual trash. But that's true of like any era for movies.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
But it felt so good. Everything about this felt amazing.
Yes. It's very good.
And the ending was like perfect. I don't know. I thought it was gonna be like oh, he sacrificed himself, and the Nazis are gonna kill him or imprison him forever or whatever. Yeah, nah. Well, let's go to the bar. So good.
Like, it's also just nuts to me they made this movie in fucking 1942. Like, World War II was super going on
Yeah.
during this. This isn't
Yeah.
like this isn't like looking at it with rose-colored glasses or something. This is in the heat of it.
Yeah.
This is what they're doing.
No, it's like it's a little wild. There was also an interesting connection for me because I've been taking that history of North Africa class.
Mm-hmm.
So like this came up a little bit with Morocco and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just like they don't get into it like almost at all, but it's just sort of that like, you know, it's a little aha gotcha moment.
Yeah. It is still 1942, so there are so many white people.
Well, yeah. I mean, like North Africa is.
Yeah,
I won't say
mean,
white, but you know, it's mixed.
Yeah.
More so, anyway.
Mm-hmm. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. There are just so many little in a lot of these movies, but there are just so many little lines. I've
Yeah.
watched these movies over and over. Those are the things that like stand with me, like there's just those two people who are going to America, the two German couple, and they're like they've been working on their English, and it's like, what watch? 10 watch. Oh, such much. It's so good. There's a little like that scene didn't need to be there, but it's so good. It's perfect.
Man. Yeah, I had asked as soon as I finished this film. It kind of sat there, you know, just like post movie basking, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
And immediately messaged Anya. I'm like, have you seen Casablanca? No. But have you heard of Casablanca? No. Okay, well that's a little weird, but sure. I have a movie you'll like.
One of my other favorite I like how this movie kind of turns the fucking French national anthem into a patriotic American song.
Yeah.
Because it's in that scene where they have to win.
Mm-hmm.
They have to beat the Nazis at singing your national anthem.
Well, yeah. You can't.
I mean, which is easy because the French national anthem is like the best national anthem. It's quite good.
Yeah, I can't remember it offhand.
The Marseillaise is pretty good.
It bumps.
It has good content. Yeah, it bumps.
Just listen to Spotify one day and like, oh, French national anthem comes on. Hank's like, fuck, we got a slapper. He's turning it up.
Look, man, you sing it loud and cry. That's what you do.
Yeah, apparently.
It's about like people dying in the streets too. So,
Yeah.
it's from the French Revolution.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's good.
I don't know. The moment that's like sticking in my mind right now is it's. I feel like any moment you pick from this film as like, oh, I really like this. Like, there's gonna be a billion other people who also like it.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of moments.
Yes.
Is just so well executed when what's her name rolls in and she asks Sam to play the song, and Rick comes in and he's like, I told you never to play that. And then, you know, that it's such a good fucking moment. It's so good. Like the
Yeah.
delivery is so perfect.
Hmm. I know, like Roger Ebert is like obsessed with the way that Ingrid Bergman's her face is shot in this movie, and like the way they light it.
How so?
Just like her face is fucking like you just look at her once and you kind of get it. Like it's kind of magic.
Okay.
They always put like the lighting on it, and all the close-ups is pretty pretty perfect.
Yeah. No, I I've only seen it once, but that's it's one of many. Like
Yeah.
I'm keeping this one around. I don't know about Falcon. That one was a good to do once sort of thing, I think. But
Mm-hmm. That's fair. There's also like just the whole dynamic of like you've got your unwilling hero, and then you have your like that the kind of messiah character is not our main character. He's literally the husband of the woman our main character is in love with.
yeah.
He's not like that. I like that dynamic better than like there are so many movies where like the messiah figure is your main character, and like this is such a good example of why that's you can still have that character in your movie and it can still work, but your main character, your heart of your movie doesn't have to be that. Even if the heart of your message is with that guy. Kind of. As much as, Rick does like turn around by the end, he's not like he's still interested in the human beings in this movie. He's not like trying to do something bigger at the moment. It's still pretty focused on its characters
Yeah.
and like these specific events and things that are happening, the little minute details, navigating this situation.
Mhm.
It also helps that like of like the nature of the world and like the Nazis' rules are keep changing and like shifting under you,
Yeah.
under our heroes, like that pressure of like this is bad and it could get a whole lot worse at any moment.
Yeah.
And just at any moment it could all fall apart.
I also like I mean it's not like anything in the film itself, but just even reading about it afterwards was so fun. Just like I don't know. There's a lot on that Wikipedia page. Turns out people have talked about this film a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh my god, here we there's a little freaking list of quotes. Play it again, Sam. Here's looking at you, kid. I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship. Well, I was at Paris. Round up the usual suspects. Of all the gin joints in all the towns in all the world, she walks into mine. Good stuff.
Good stuff. I'm trying to remember. So if you want to know a a bad movie, they made like after Casablanca, at some point they made this other huge movie with like most of these stars. I don't, although not with most of like the supporting cast, like almost all of them. This other movie
Okay.
that's terrible. It's just like super boring. I think Bogart might be in it, but like in a minor role. I'm trying to remember the name of it, but it had like I tried to watch it once. It had like four nested flashbacks. Like, he just kept going from flashback into flashback into flashback. I can't remember what the name of it was. Which one it was. I think it was... It might have been Passage to Marseille.
Okay.
Might be the name of it. Yeah, and Bogart was in it. But I think he's not in as much of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because of that dumb flashback thing. It was really... Oof. Oof.
Better just to forget about it.
I will never forget. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't recommend it unless you're like curious and want to watch a bad movie, because it was mostly it was a mess and it was boring. It's just like, right, movies can also be bad. Like, Casablanca feels like some kind of minor miracle that it turned out. That it turned out this good. How fun it is, despite, like, it literally being, like how much pure entertainment it is, despite also being about convincing Americans we should get into World War II. Like, it is just an incredible piece of popcorn entertainment, and also, but it's like what it is primarily, and it has this other side to it, because it was such a well constructed piece of
Media.
honestly, that makes it better propaganda. Yeah, such a good piece of media.
You have to make the propaganda fun.
I mean, I'm okay with it because it's good and I agree with it.
Yeah.
So, you know.
What? You think we should fight Nazis? You Nazi. Freedom
Wow.
of speech.
Wow. So yeah, Casablanca happened and it was very popular. So then they made Casablanca again to Have and Have Not.
Yeah. Yeah, that was like the first thing I noticed. Like,
Guess what the book isn't like?
the
Book
film.
is not like Casablanca.
Yeah. That sounds right. Yeah, like he
Yeah.
was the exact same character.
I mean, the plot is the same.
Yeah.
It's just that he's not, his love interest is just not actually involved with the plot this time.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. This is the movie that introduces Lauren Bacall, who Humphrey Bogart would star in 4 movies with, and then they would get married and
Yeah.
stay married till Bogart died.
Hmm.
So it's pretty, and that's what makes, like, Lauren Bacall is what makes this movie for me,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, no, she was. I mean, this one was also like, it was really solid. It was just I don't know. It's kind of, when Force Awakens came out, it was great because it was kind of a return to form. But if Force Awakens had come out like right after A New Hope, it'd be a bit different.
Yeah, this one, as I've rewatched it, this one just has so many little conversation moments that I just love.
Yeah.
Like the fact that Lauren Bacall's character never calls Humphrey Bogart's character by his actual name. His name is Harry, and she calls him Steve the entire movie.
Wow, I didn't even like pick up on that.
Which is like, I forget who. I think it's like that's like a reference to the head of the studio, I think, at the time. Him and his wife, like, she would call him Steve, and he would call her Slim. That
Yo,
was
yeah,
just a
the
thing.
slim thing, like, what is, I don't know. Talk about fucking, like, fitting. I don't know, it just works super well.
Yeah. No, they took that from actual human beings who did that, but it
Okay.
works so well in this movie.
Yeah. And her singing was dope.
Yes,
Good stuff.
accurate. Uh-huh. She was also like 19.
I mean, that's fine. As long as she wasn't like
Yeah,
18, then it's weird.
but she seems older than she is in this
Oh,
movie.
yeah, 1,000%. I think,
Yes.
man, I don't even know. You know what? Wow, I'm trying to think like how old I would have like mentally thought she was. Honestly, like maybe 30. Yeah, I'm sure a bit of that has to do with just, makeup, lighting, whatever.
That's also her voice.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah,
I know like
damn.
this is like her first big role,
Mm-hmm.
and she's pretty great. Like
Yeah,
her
what a
and Bogart
breakout
just
role.
have really good really good movie chemistry.
Oh, absolutely.
It's and in real life chemistry too.
Yeah, apparently, yeah.
Um I also love Walter Brennan's character as Eddie.
Eddie is really good.
Yeah. That character is the closest to actually being from the book
Yeah.
of this drunk who like walks weird. He has these tics. But yeah. This movie is based on an Ernest Hemingway book, but it was rewritten multiple times, and the final credit is to William Faulkner, which
Okay.
is interesting because Faulkner and Hemingway fucking hated each other. But also like there's like a scene in this movie that's out of the book, and it's when Eddie wants to sneak back on board Harry's boat when he's going on his
Yeah,
mission
but it
to
just
pick up the
hides,
people.
like just pops out.
Yeah. Well, like the scene of like Harry turning him away and then him turning up on the ship, like that's from the book, but in the book they're not helping the French resistance. They're sneaking in Chinese migrant workers,
Okay.
and the book is really rough to read because it uses the N word a ridiculous number of times.
That checks out.
Just like a lot. Like a lot. Like that was the most striking thing about the movie to me, about the book to me rather, was how much it used that word. 'Cause
More or less or equal to Huckleberry Finn.
more.
Oh my god.
Like a lot more.
What the hell? Holy shit.
It's
That's wild.
it felt oppressive. Like it was like,
Oh
oh,
no.
this is just the use of this word over and over again.
Yeah, that's
Man, no one
That's
should ever
rough.
use this word again.
yeah,
It's
no.
horrible.
Like I don't know. I thought
Also,
it-
the book
oh,
is
yeah.
fucking like it's a miserable book. There's no Lauren Bacall character. Harry's in a loveless marriage. Also, his arm gets cut off at one point.
Oh.
It's just like
That's,
pure misery. There's no. It's not. It's not a good book.
Yeah.
It was an interesting experience. I learned a lot. Woof.
And this I'm looking at there's a little thing about like some of Bakal's lines became renowned as double entendre. I forgot about
Uh-huh.
this one. You know how to whistle, don't you, Steve? You just
Yeah.
put your lips together and blow. What a fucking line.
I love when he makes her walk around him.
Yeah. There was oh my god.
I love Eddie's we're bit by a bee bit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like a thing. It was like it's a I like how it's done and like how she like flips it back on him.
Yes.
Like, yo, you must be all right.
It's how he tests people, man.
I guess, yeah.
He has
Gotta
to
have
see if they're
some.
okay. If they just ignore him, then no, they're no good.
His first like interrogation is great. Like, you don't understand. He's
I
an
think they were
alcoholic.
trying to get me drunk. They don't know me very well, do they?
Sticking perfectly to the story.
Oh, after like the surgery in the basement, and
Yeah.
the wife faints, and
Oh,
Harry's
yeah.
like carrying her out, and he like holds her for an extra second, looking at her, and Lauren Bacall walks in. He's like, "What are you trying to do? Guess her weight?"
It's real good.
Like, she's heavier than you'd think. Like that's again, this is like a movie I've watched lots of times, and that's the thing that it makes it rewatchable is like all those little moments. Like the plot is this time is kind of whatever. Like it's,
yeah, no, the plot, like,
it's
definitely the
Casablanca
character.
again, but it's not Casablanca.
Yeah.
But
No,
all the little character interactions are
Yeah.
super good.
Everybody just like everybody does well. Like all of the characters are enjoyable to watch. And that makes it all the better when you have good characters who then get to interact.
Yeah. And I mean, this is the other thing about this movie. It's like watching Bogart movies, they're so defined by him.
Yeah.
Like all of these movies have different directors, but the reason like I would lump them together because I think of them as Bogart movies primarily because he's such a commanding star. Like the movies kind of get defined by him more than the styles of the directors. And these are fucking like great directors. It's not like he's working with no names or anything.
Yeah.
Howard Hawks made a fucking billion movies.
Well, depending on who you ask, Humphrey Bogart might be the director.
I mean, they would be wrong. Again, directorial auteur theory wouldn't is like not the be all end all. You could say like particularly at this era, I'm pretty sure like it was way more movies were way more defined by the studio they were coming out of than anything.
That
Like
makes
it was
sense.
a Warner Brothers picture would probably be the thing at this time, and then later like it became producers were the well-known people. It wasn't till like auteur theory didn't come about till later. In terms of in the argument that directors of the auteur wasn't a thing yet, even. But yeah, Heaven of Knots, good.
Yeah.
It's a quality
yeah.
film,
It's an enjoyable watch.
fun time. And then we have The Big Sleep.
Um, the the biggest thing here is that I finished the film, and then I
Uh-huh.
rewatched like the last 20 minutes, and then I went back and rewatched like the 15 minutes before the last 20 minutes, and then I just went on Wikipedia and read the plot, and then I went on a
Uh-huh.
different site and read the plot, and then I like read some more of Wikipedia. And I was really happy to discover that I wasn't the only one who had no idea what the fuck was going on, even after reading a plot synopsis. I didn't have that much yarn around to like put strings between people. What a
I mean,
mess, but amazing. Like
the
it's
famous story
terrible,
about
but
this is when they were making the movie, the filmmakers called up Raymond Chandler, who wrote the book,
yeah,
and they asked him who killed the chauffeur, the guy they pull out of the car in the river, and he's like, I don't know.
holy shit.
He had no idea.
Oh my god. That doesn't even. Oh my god. Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
So this movie, like, it felt like James Bond. Dude just runs into so many girls.
Yeah, man.
Fucking, if you can use me again sometime, call this number. Day and night. Night's better. I work during the day. Fucking unreal.
It's so good.
Book girl. Bookstore girl.
Yeah.
She needed more screen time.
Yeah.
Just saying. It's sad that
So
they had
good.
her, it's sad that they had her do the thing where she like has to take off her glasses and let her hair down, but like
Uh-huh.
goddamn. She turned that sign to closed.
She did turn that sign to closed.
Like there's so much shit in this film. And then they're doing like fucking airplane bullshit like how do you like your brandy? In a glass. Like, fucking, it's unbelievable. Like the plot was a fucking mess, but there were so many instances of literally me just like leaning back and being like, God damn. Like they've done it. It's so good.
Yeah, I love this movie. And I definitely like had watched it a bunch of times. It's like I have no idea what happens.
Yeah, no.
I have a pretty good sense of what's going on. You know, apart from the guy nobody knows who killed him. But, you know, life happens. But yeah, it like the part where he walks into Geiger's bookstore and he flips up his hat and he puts on glasses
Yeah.
and he's acting like a nerd. He's looking for those specific rare books. I'm just like that took me a bunch of viewings to realize that like in the scene previously he had like looked up a thing in a book, so he knew
What he was
this
talking
wasn't
about.
a thing. Well, he knew
Yeah.
he was making something up,
Yeah.
but that baffled me for a long time when I was watching this when I was younger. But it's amazing. It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, no, everything like there's so much good shit that happens.
It's also because Bogart's like the character is so the same so much of the time, and he fucking goes for it in that scene. He flips the hat up. You do sell books, don't you?
Oh my
What do
god.
those look like? Hello.
Well, they look like books from here.
Look like books from here.
Yeah, like
good.
90 I'm looking at like quotes. 99% of them are like fucking I guess puns.
They're
Sort
bangers.
of. Yeah. Yeah, I mean
And then he walks into an alley, gets beat up, and then just starts another character walks in to have a conversation with him as he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh God." uh, it's so good because it's so just like needlessly complicated. It's just like one thing after another, and it's
Yeah.
not like it doesn't bother to let you catch up. It doesn't like if you miss something that a small thing, it's like, well, you missed it.
Hmm.
Good luck, or just you're left behind.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like, it was not a do something while I'm watching this to try to figure out what's happening. And then I was a little upset because it doesn't matter how hard I try, I'm not going to figure it out anyway.
I mean, you can figure out most of it there.
Well, yeah. It's just a lot.
It's just a lot. That I love that the whole first scene where he meets the younger daughter. She's like, "You're not very tall, are you?"
Right.
Well, I try to be. And then she's like looking at him and like just falls into it, like faints on him. And later he talks to me. He's like, "You tried to sit in my lap while I was standing up."
God. I think the top one is still the taxi driver.
The taxi driver was pretty good.
Especially because like they don't even come back to it.
No,
Like
she never comes back.
I thought maybe he would like need a taxi for some reason or like need someone, like need a ride or whatever. Nah. It's so good. But yeah, that plot, like, it was definitely one where, like, by the end of the film, I was like, this is terrible. And then afterwards, when I realized that, like, nobody understands, I'm like, okay, I've reconvened and I've decided that it's great. Like,
Uh, yeah, it's just so good. Like his whole intro is that fucking she's asking him questions about who he is and he's giving her like fake answers. Like he gives her not his name.
mm,
Uh God, what a movie. What a movie. So
it
this is
really
like The
is.
Big Sleep is way more the term of like Shaggy Dog Noir, where like it's about like the main character goes from scene to scene and just stuff happens and
Yeah.
it's not even about the mystery. Like
Hmm.
you might not even solve the mystery.
Or know what the mystery is.
Well, like the mystery that actually isn't the mystery you start with.
Yeah, yeah.
Um for sure that one's super defined. It's like being one of the classics. Like this is way more this is way more like what noir is than the Maltese Falcon, which is way more like of a detective story.
Hmm. Yeah.
That it's like not about it's not about the plot, it's much more about the tone and the
Hmm.
because the plot is fucking nonsense. It's just it's about stuff happening over and over again.
It's about picking up girls and then dropping them immediately.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
No, definitely like a bit of a early Bond vibe in that regard.
Yeah.
Like just I'm not really important to the plot. Like I could be anyone, but instead I'm a slamming hottie.
And like all the innuendo stuff is in these movies because they literally couldn't do anything explicit because of
Yeah.
the censorship rules at the time. But sometimes restriction breeds creativity. It's like they
Yeah.
do. It's not like it's it's not like this isn't a horny movie.
Yeah, no. God, that fucking close sign though. Bitch just shut down her shop for the day.
Oh, she does such good stuff with like her tongue in her mouth. Just
Yeah.
like while she's
Yeah.
thinking.
Good shit.
It's good shit.
Yeah, I mean
Like
this is like yeah.
you meet a character who's working for another character you've met, so you have to remember that she exists.
Oh my
And then he
god, there's
dies
so
like
much
one
of that
scene
shit.
later.
Yeah.
Fucking fucking Canino.
I don't even know what that name is.
That's the
There's too many.
he's the bad guy who shows up later and is like ridiculous and makes the guy drink the water. That
Oh
poisons
yeah,
him.
yeah. Too many cooks.
Too many cooks. The bad guy gets shot by his own dudes. He
Yeah.
walks out.
Instantaneously. It didn't even cross their mind that their boss could walk out.
He's like, stop, don't shoot.
That's just what someone we
dead.
were supposed to shoot would say. Blam, blam, blam.
A fucking machine gun right across the door.
Yeah.
That like that whole he doesn't like catch the bad guy. He just like figures out if I get to this place first where he wants to kill me, I'll be dropping him.
Yeah.
But I got here first, did he? Oh, it's so good.
This was a good start to the old movie months, possibly. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, like 3 out of 4 is a pretty good ratio, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 3 out of 4 that I'm like, yo, I need to go through these again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's fair.
And like, is there anything else like worth checking out that Humphrey Bogart's done?
Yeah, totally. He's in definitely in other good movies.
Yeah, no, like his filmography was enormous. I just,
Yeah. I mean, like it's not all of those.
yeah. I was like, if you're gonna tell me that I could fucking throw a dart, that's too much.
The African Queen is a good one. With his bleh.
Blah blah.
That's him and Katharine Hepburn.
Okay.
There's Treasure of the Sierra Madre, which is a pretty different movie, which is like a bunch of dudes in the desert find gold and go insane.
That's weird.
That one also has that one I was thinking of for one of the things. There's Key Largo. It's pretty good. That's the other one. That's another one of the Lauren Bacall ones.
Yeah, I hovered over Dark Passage and it said they did 4 films together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dark Passage is probably the one I would say is
Like the weakest.
is the worst. Yeah, the weakest.
Okay. But like is like Are there any that need to be like avoided at all costs, or like a grouping? I don't know. I mean,
No,
maybe you.
I again, um, I wouldn't watch High Sierra. High Sierra is pretty boring.
But is there anything like before or after a certain point that like it's kind of
Like
whatever?
I wouldn't watch anything before the Maltese Falcon for sure.
Okay,
Well, there's one of those movies I actually like, but he's not like the main character. He shows up at the end as a villain.
gotcha.
I think it's the petrified. Yeah, it's Petrified Forest, and it's. I actually really liked it because every character in it feels like they're from like a fucking completely different movie.
Good
They're
lord.
these young kids in love. There's this like old timey minor character who feels like he's from a movie. There's a city slicker who just feels like he's from something different. And then like at the end of the movie, Humphrey Bogart just walks in and holds them all hostage because he's a gangster. He's
Oh
like
my god.
not going anywhere. It's just wild. It's not like a great movie, but I found it very entertaining. But I really like just in general when characters in movies feel like they're from the wrong movie. They're just
Yeah.
from a different movie. They've wandered in here. In A Lonely Place, I I have a real soft spot for partially it reminds me of adaptation as like a really early precursor to it because of how it changes the source material of its book. Like it makes
Oh.
it like the movie's about a writer, the book is not about a writer. It kind of like
I
flips on
mean,
its head what the plot was going to be about this guy who maybe he killed this woman,
I mean,
like his neighbor who he was getting romantically involved with who turns up dead.
how many
This is
scenes involve Humphrey Bogart jerking off?
none.
Oh,
It's not that much
well.
like adaptation.
The question has to be asked.
Yeah, no. It's still a 1950 movie.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they
But
could. I don't know. Maybe like a chick walks in, like, "You've been in here for ages. What are you doing?" And he's like, "I'm just tugging some sausage." And it like zooms out, and there's like a little sausage making machine or something.
you know, I would say the big one we didn't watch is African Queen in terms of his best movies.
Okay.
That's the one that was like I thought about, but decided the Maltese Falcon was historically too important to skip.
Yeah.
Basically,
And that's totally fair.
yeah. And African Queen's in color.
Ooh, I I actually saw on the Casablanca page that they redid it in color.
They colorized it. Yeah.
Not redid, but and everyone was like, it ended up being worse. Like,
Yeah. No. Cause like they didn't even leave the white suits as white.
oh,
They fucked it all up.
yeah, that's gross.
Like I feel like that's the only detail you need to know like why this was bad.
Yeah,
It's like they made like the white suits like yellow.
that's ugh. You had one job, and you did it too much. You colored things that didn't need to be colored.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's podcast.
Yeah, man.
Those were old movies.
They are. And it's
Not
like a yeah.
Not like 90s movies, which are like 20 years old, but come on. They're not that old.
Yeah. No.
They haven't
It's-
been.
I don't know. Based on like, uh, again, it's like it's probably true of any era, but based on films that I've seen from the 70s, like I think the 40s has a like a higher quality so far. I don't know. I think I've just been exposed to a lot of like the campy, shitty movies from the 70s.
Yeah, no, the good movies from the 70s are like, well, the other problem for you, I'd say, with the good 70s movies is a lot of them don't even have soundtracks because it was going for a more realism thing
Sure.
where they got more into like trying to feel like real life was kind of what they were into, and more minimalism stuff.
Gotcha.
A lot of them, but yeah, a lot of them were the more independent. They're like this whole wave of independent filmmakers came out of there partly because the bloated Hollywood movies were not connecting with people at all.
Yeah. But no, it's
And
been
I was
good.
yeah, like for New Year's I was watching a special that was like, I forget it was, I forget if it was MGM, but it was like all movies of different eras from one studio, and they would just they're like cycling through clips.
Okay.
And like whenever they got to the 70s, you could tell because it was looked terrible, and they were clearly on a sound stage, and like they didn't look like movies. They looked like someone who was filming a stage. Like
Yeah.
they just lost all the ability to do it. And then you go like movies that were older than it looked better, movies that were later than it clearly looked better. Like it was just
Weird.
They fucked it up. They lost it briefly.
Yeah. No, it's been a really good like introduction to old films. I don't know. It's like
Yeah.
it's shattering those preconceived notions. Old
Yeah.
movies can be good. Who knew?
True. The thing we didn't mention is that in Casablanca, there's all that fog at the end, which, you know, if you were actually in Casablanca, there wouldn't be fog there. All that fog
makes
is there
sense.
and they put that fog there to distract the audience from how tiny the plane was.
I mean, probably did its job. I don't know.
It set the mood.
Yeah. A rule of cool, you know?
Rule of cool. Exactly. Also, that fucking narration intro to Casablanca.
Mm-hmm.
They wait and wait. I saw a movie this year that was like, literally, it was like the serious version of just off of the intro to Casablanca, kind of people stuck in Casablanca in a nightmare world. But yeah, you can email us at saltcirclepodcast@gmail.com. Find us on Twitter at saltcirclepod. We're on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Salt Circle Podcasts, and you can find our episodes hosted at anchor.fm/saltcircle, and I'm on Twitter at Comic Panels.
I'm on Twitter at bean_LP.
Favorite minor character from these movies?
I've already forgotten the actor's name. The dude who gets taken out in like the first 5 minutes of Casablanca or whatever.
Peter Lorre.
Yeah, they just like
Casablanca.
take him away, and Rick's like, "Oh, I wish I could help, but I don't want to."
Help me, Rick, please. He's so calm at first when they go to get him.
Yeah,
And
no,
then he
he's just like
completely loses it.
Yeah.
Peter
I mean,
Lorre.
how
Peter
about
Lorre
you?
is pretty great.
How about
I don't know. It might be Walter Brennan in Have and Have Not.
you? Which one's he?
The drunk
Okay, okay.
Eddie. As far as minor character, I don't know. If you want to go more minor than that,
I was thinking like slightly minor. He seems more like a
it might
like
be
a
Bookstore Girl.
Yeah.
That was so good.
My man.